Hi everyone, this is Dr. Ashby, Seed Wellness's functional medicine doctor and GP. So to continue with our theme of the power of plants, today I'm going to talk about my top medicinal plants, shall we say. So these are things that I have, these are the kind of plants that I encourage my patients to eat and try and predominate their diet with when it comes from the plant kingdom. And I'm going to just kind of give you some examples of what exactly those foods are and why. So if we had to try and talk about why disease develops inside the body, so I'm talking about like the physiological reasons, there are a couple of things that are commonplace in all diseases, and they are inflammation, hormonal issues, and insulin resistance. Okay, and plants can actually help in all three of those things. So once we get to those root causes and start fixing them with the power of plants, it's amazing that so many people's symptoms can go. So, I could talk about plants for hours and hours. I've got 5 minutes. So I'm trying to break it down into like groups of plants that I think are the most beneficial. So one of the first ones I want to talk about is sprouted foods. So again, you might be thinking that this is some kind of trend. It really, really isn't. For centuries and centuries where cultures eat predominantly plant-based food, they would know that there are certain things that you need to do to those plants to basically get the best out of them, and also to minimize some of the kind of anti-nutrients that are there in plants. I'm afraid they're there in all foods. You can't do much about them, but you can minimize the risks. So sprouted seeds, sprouted microgreens, things like broccoli seeds, radish seeds, sprouted chickpeas, sprouted fenugreek seeds, all of these, in my opinion, are incredible. They're a really, really good source of vitamins, especially vitamins A, B, K, vitamin C. They're really high in minerals like zinc, calcium, magnesium, and these are things that we really are quite low in. They are highly, highly anti-inflammatory. Some of these sprouted seeds, like broccoli seeds, for example, there is actually quite a lot of evidence now. I'm talking about kind of like proper randomized control trial evidence on broccoli seeds and cancer treatments and things like that. So the other things that they're really specifically good for is obviously hormonal problems, especially gynae things, so PMS, painful periods, acne. Get yourself some sprouted seeds. Another thing I love about them is that they're very cheap. You can do them yourself at home. You can get the kids involved, and it's really, really fun. And oh my God, you can sneak these into children's food really, really easily. You could put a tablespoon into some soup or some dal or some scrambled eggs in the morning, and it's really nice knowing that your kid's going off to school with like a real hit of like a multivitamin pill as well. So those are the kind of microgreens and sprouted seeds which are my favorite. The next one, again, kind of trendy right now, but legitimately, again, not trendy, always been there, and that's fermented foods. So, like the kimchis and the sauerkrauts and the kefirs and even some of these fermented hot sauces. I mean, Tabasco is a fermented sauce. I would recommend making your own, but still. And in that fermented family, we've got things like apple cider vinegar as well. So what is so good about these fermented things that we're hearing all about? Number one, again, you can do it yourself. I just think it's so important in today's culture to try and do as much as you can at home. Things are expensive and it's just nice. People need to learn how to cook. So I think this is another thing that you can do. You can almost watch it grow. It becomes a live food. So fermented foods are foods that the bacteria have got really, really good collection of prebiotics and probiotics. So amazing for your gut microbiome. And you've all heard about the gut microbiome, this collection of bugs that live inside our intestine and basically are responsible either in starting or facilitating literally millions of reactions in the body. A healthy gut microbiome has been linked to the prevention of many, many diseases. So you really want to be working on your gut microbiome. I mean, specifically, these kind of foods are obviously going to help with gut issues, but the caveat is you have to go slow. If you've never really had probiotic kind of food before, fermented foods before, you can get quite a kind of scary, nasty reaction when you first start them, with lots of bloating and wind and abdominal pain. So you just got to be careful. Go slow, like half a teaspoon as a condiment of like sauerkraut or whatever with your salad or whatever it is that you're eating, and just work your way up. But you can't really overdose on these. Again, this is food. This is one of the best things about food as medicine, is that you just can't overdose on it. They're not dangerous. They're not dangerous. They generally don't interfere with the kind of allopathic medications. Apples, I mentioned apple cider vinegar. Apples, British fruit. You know, we need to be supporting our local community already. We have been importing food for way too long. When you ferment apples and you get apple cider vinegar, I mean, that is, to me, it's like a panacea for everything. It is an antimicrobial, meaning antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal. I mean, who doesn't want a bit of that in today's, 2021 with COVID? So apple cider vinegar, just as a kind of substance, you could dilute it down. You can use it for acne, for cysts, for boils. I know that I've treated in my own body a really, really big infected boil, and I also had bacterial tonsillitis once, and I gargled with it, and it had gone. And I wasn't worried about anything, because again, this is a food. I mean, you use apple cider vinegar as a salad dressing. So you can imagine if something is as safe to put as a salad dressing, you're definitely okay to like gargle with it, or use as a mouthwash. Really, really good for gingivitis, bad breath. And again, another amazing digestive aid. I forgot to mention fiber so far in all of these foods, but I think we all know that plants generally, all of them will give fiber, but the ones that I am focusing on are my kind of favorite fiber givers, if you see what I mean. The last group of plants that I really, really love is your above ground leafy vegetables, herbs and sea veg. And they're all classed into one because they all have one common thing, is that they're all really, really green. They're really green, they're really low in carbs. So anybody who knows me knows that I am a massive proponent of the low carb diet. There is so much evidence around it, and it's easy. You can just as well do a low carb diet on a plant-based way of eating, or on a kind of omnivorous way of eating. You've just got to do it properly. And that's how I lost like 4 stones. I ate loads and loads of vegetables, 10 portions a day, but I pretty much they were only the above ground leafy ones. So really good for the environment. We're not importing our vegetables from God knows where. So again, really supporting local community. And then when you are eating things that are locally, they're generally better for you. They're low in carb, they're really high in fiber, they've got loads and loads of antioxidants, but just really full of vitamins and minerals. Fantastic at helping you balance out your blood sugar levels, hormonal levels. The sea vegetables, I mean, they're actually in a different class of they're not actually even plants, they're a different group, it doesn't matter. But these have been, there's so much evidence around their helping of thyroid function. Thyroid issues are another massive problem in today's day and age. So there we have it. Loads of medical problems can be fixed by just using plants. I could go on and on and on. I haven't even touched on my favorites like onion and garlic and spices and all these other beautiful plants that I've been raised with. To summarize, get fermenting, get sprouting, get growing, because all of this stuff you can do at home in your backyard. All right, guys, till sometime soon. Lots of love.